Welcome to Section 4, where we'll be talking about distributive justice. For about 150 years, from roughly 1840 to 1990, questions of distributive justice really dominated both politics and political theory. This time period was characterized by a struggle between liberal, market-oriented approaches to distributing the rewards of social cooperation, and various kinds of socialist approaches which make more heavy use of the government to direct economic rewards and penalties. Now, in liberal systems, individuals, firms, and banks play the central roles in deciding where investment and consumption will go. In socialist systems, governments, cooperatives, or other forms of community associations, like the Soviets from the Soviet Socialist Republics, direct the country's investments and consumption. Economists debate the relative efficiency of these systems at increasing total and average incomes, but that debate seems fairly well settled at this point, and it's settled in favor of markets, at least for the time being. The system of private rewards for private effort and ingenuity seems to be able to elicit more productivity than other incentive systems that we've imagined. The debate about the fairness and justice of these kinds of private systems is far from settled, however. In this section, we're going to review debates about private property and survey the field of social justice, where justice isn't understood as a property of actions, and even less a property of the soul, like Socrates or Aristotle would have thought, but as a term that applies to societies as a whole, and in particular their basic political institutions, like the laws, the family, or the economy. On the one side of these debates, we have those who think that the market rewards relatively morally arbitrary factors like initial social status and natural talents, things that individuals could not possibly be said to have deserved or earned. For an equal amount of hard work, some people get a whole lot more rewards than others. Why does LeBron James deserve to get paid millions of dollars a year for being 6'8" and ridiculously athletic, when lots of people who have trained just as hard as LeBron are playing street ball for little to no money? In fact, why does LeBron earn so much more than many people or many athletes in the NBA who are actually fairly similar in their amount of hard work and their athleticism, but perhaps just a little bit less? Why does Paris Hilton get to make a career out of being born into the Hilton family when the rest of us could work lifetimes without receiving the opportunities she received? Critics of the market suggest that rewards in the market seem to disproportionately go to people who haven't put forth contributions, or the right kinds of contributions, that are different enough to merit the disproportionate results that we see. Is E.L. James, who made $95 million in 2013 for her 50 Shades of Grey series, really 10 times better than Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin or J.K. Rowling, who made about $12 to $13 million each? And was E.L. James's contributions to society really almost 2,000 times greater than a social worker making $50,000 a year? Now, on the other side of these debates, we have those who see individual talents as primarily our own, even if we can't be said to really deserve them or earn them in any deep way. No one steals their talents or initial social status from others. No account is out of balance because LeBron is very tall and good at basketball, or because the name Hilton somehow makes people interested in what you're doing. E.L. James didn't steal her money from anyone, though I know a few people who probably regret buying her books. No one seems to have done anything terribly wrong, and if nobody did anything wrong, why does the government need to be involved? Robert Nozick, whom we're not going to get to read this semester, but who has a lot of interesting things to say on the subject, makes an analogy between our natural talents and our body parts, like, say, our eyes or our arms. Some people are born blind, and other people are born with great genes for eyesight, but even though nobody really deserved to be blind or have great eyesight, no baby did anything to deserve their eyes, right? But it doesn't follow that we should have redistribution in eyes, right? Some people's eyes need to be taken away and transplanted into the blind such that everybody can see a little bit. Even if that were possible, to many of us, that sort of scheme seems pretty monstrous. Nozick argues that just because some are unlucky doesn't yet mean that the government should try to nullify the effects of bad luck. And yet, why should some have to suffer merely because they were born blind, or they were born to parents who didn't care, or in neighborhoods where social status and rewards were achieved through gangs rather than doing well in school. Matters of distributive justice and social justice continue to divide us in the 21st century. The fact that markets seem to be usually better than government at meeting human wants and needs doesn't mean that private property and free trade don't need a moral defense, one that takes seriously the problems of luck and unfairness. Our democratic politics take it for granted that the government should do something to help the unfortunate. But why shouldn't we do more than we're currently doing? On the other hand, if no one did anything wrong, why should we do anything at all? These are the things I'm inviting you to think about as you read through the section.